Hi and welcome back. Let's do Demanufacture by Fear Factory. The tuning is B, EADG-B. You'll have to buy a 11 to 62 gauge. I tried an 11 to 52, but I believe that gauge holds tuning up to drop B, but it really doesn't quite cut it. So we have the intro. Starts with it was the first repetition, then little variation there, repetition 3, another variation, then repetition 4, fourth variation. Open riff. So this is the first open riff. I'll play it slower. Now, when these 16 notes are being played very fast, you have to consider 1/4 as 2 movements of the hand, so it's easier to keep track of where you are in the measure. So this is a quarter, right? 1 and 2. So you can do, I don't know, for example, 1/4, 1 pause of a quarter, 1/4, 1 pause of a quarter. I mean, one set of 16 notes of a quarter, then a pause, then again will be 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And if it's 2, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or if it's 3, even it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, right? So it's much easier to keep track of. Of course, always practice with a metronome, because for this particular genre, you have to be very accurate. Verse 1, we just have 2 repetitions of just that. Then we have the bridge, which is a variation on the open riff that we had at the beginning. Then we have open riff variation A before the second verse kicks in, which is the same as the previous verse. The open riff variation A is verse again. Bridge again, is the same as the previous one. Then the bridge continues. I haven't named this for some reason, but let's say it's a continuation of the bridge. Quite a mouthful. Slower. Then this last part continues for 4 repetitions. I got no more goddamn, right? Which slower, much slower is Arco riff, probably one of the easiest riffs from the song. how I called it. And we have this 9/8 measure, but you just have to listen to it time and time again because it's very hard to pick, but it's these 9/8 measures is very hard to pick, but you just have to take into account that the first 8 note actually isn't there, because then we have 2 sets of 16 notes and 4 8 notes, so it's basically just 1 2 1 2, right? It's very simple, 1 2 1 2, but you have to remove the first 8 note. 1. You just have to listen to the song. I think there is a kick drum there. You can use that as a reference, and then you go back into the hardcore riff. So it's on. Then we have a longer version of the airy riff. So these were repeated by 2 times, and then it continues with. Then we have a break. There's a 4 quarters measure and then a 5th quarters one. Man, this song is a mess with the time signatures, but don't worry, this is the worst of the bunch in the entire album. The rest is much easier. But since it plays on the last quarter of the next to last measure on the first measure, you just have to count 6. So it's 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 2 3 4 5 6. And then on the 5th measure it's, and then on the 5th repetition is, there's a 1 quarter pause. So it's 1. We have the I got no more goddamn respect again, but this time it hasn't got power chords for the passing for the passing notes. It's just single string thing. It's got no more goddamn regrets. Then it gets harder. Regrets. Respect. Regrets. Then we have the ending, which is probably the coolest riff of the bunch, and understandably put at the very end of the song. And the song ends. Let's do it a little bit slower, because there are some notes there that are hard to make out. And the song ends. Not an easy song. I usually say pretty easy song. That's not it. That's really not it. It's probably one of the hardest songs from the album. So It's one of the worst to begin begin your Fear Factory journey with, especially if it's been the first time that you ever put a new gauge of string and your fingers are not used to having strings so fat. Sometimes it feels like you're playing more of a bass than a guitar, considering how thick the strings are. I don't want to imagine how 8-string guitar um, are to play. But if this is your first venture with Fear Factory songs, I'd suggest you go with Edge Crusher from Obsolete. It's a much easier song, much more doable. You can do that probably in 30 minutes. But this one, it's got, oh boy, it's got everything. It's got harsh time signatures. It's got machine gun bullet 16 notes that are not contained in a measure, but it just has 1 or 2 quarters that are 16 notes, and then you have 8 notes, and then you have quarter notes. It mixes palm muting with open strings. It's a goddamn mess. So from this album, which will be published very soon, I'd suggest you went with, I don't know, probably Replica, which is also one of the most well-known ones by Fear Factory. And that I suggest that you come back to this a little bit later. You're not accustomed to playing very fast with your right hand. That's it. That's everything for Demanufacture. Thanks for watching. You can download Guitar Pro tabs from my Patreon account, where you can also request your own. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. It helps a lot. Thanks again for watching, and let's move on to Self-Bias Resistor, which is one of my favorite songs on the album. This one, Demanufacture, is one of my favorites to play in the album, but as a matter of taste, when it comes to this, Self-Bias Resistor, yeah, it's one of my favorite ones from the album. Thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one.